presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Oh, it's a big weekend. Oregon baseball in a top 25 showdown against Stanford. Oregon softball's on the road. Oregon spring football continues. They've got a lot going on, including the first scrimmage of the spring season tomorrow. We'll have details on that in the Quack Minute. And Coach Lanning will meet with the media after practice on Saturday, and we'll review all of that for you on Monday's program as well. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend for a number of Oregon sports. Track and field's got a lot going on that we'll keep you up to date on. Men's and women's tennis as well. And then Oregon lacrosse. It is senior weekend for the Ducks. Beach volleyball is also in action, but senior weekend for the Ducks. It starts tonight, 5 o'clock against Arizona State for Oregon lacrosse, and then senior day scheduled for Sunday for Chelsea Hoffman's squad at noon against USC. For Oregon softball on the road in Tempe, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 2 o'clock this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then baseball, 5 o'clock tonight. The reigning Pac-12 pitcher of the week, Jay Stoffel, gets the ball for the Ducks. It's Brews and Baseball Day at PK Park. Come sample a variety of beers. General admission with the sample package is $12. Reserved admission with the sample package is $15. What does it include? For 21 and over only, by the way. Beer samples, a pint glass for the first 150 that is Brews and Baseball themed with the Oregon logo at PK Park, and you get a hot dog. Also, if you didn't buy the package ahead of time, you can buy it on site tonight. And then tomorrow, Oregon baseball celebrating what's supposed to be a great weekend weather-wise. Bark in the Park, 2 o'clock on Saturday. One human ticket, one pooch pass, and one doggy prize bag. I have a feeling that the bandana that is featured on said dog on all the graphics that you've seen might be part of that doggy prize bag. $20 for that Bark in the Park package. Oregon, Stanford tomorrow. And then the senior stroll takes place on Sunday, noon, the first pitch for Oregon and Stanford. So a lot going on around Duck baseball this weekend, and a lot going on around spring football too. We're going to hear from Malik Terry. Jordan did not get to that yesterday. Josh Connerly and Steve Stevens as well. Some good news for some pro Ducks as it relates to Oregon softball. We will be jumping into that, hearing from Missy Lombardi, Ariel Carlson, and Valerie Wong, and then a big preview of what I think is a critical weekend for Duck baseball. They swept the series at Arizona. Series didn't go according to plan against Oregon State. Ducks bounced back and got 2 midweek wins against San Francisco on Tuesday and Wednesday. And now a team that is tied atop the Pac-12 standings in Stanford comes to town this weekend. I said at the beginning of the year, I thought the Arizona series through the Stanford series, that was the most critical stretch of the entire Oregon baseball season. And you know what? I still feel that way. This is a big weekend for Oregon baseball. Hope to see you along with some nice weather tonight, tomorrow, and on Sunday. I know the forecast on Sunday looks a little bit iffy, but the fact is that this is a really good team that you're coming to see. How good? Well, Oregon is 13 in the RPI. Stanford is 15 in the latest RPI. Those are 2 of the top 3 teams in the RPI in the Pac-12. Oregon at 7-5 in Pac-12 play. Stanford at 10-2. Well, UCLA is the team that is sandwiched in between Oregon and Stanford in the RPI. The Ducks are 13, Bruins are 14, Cardinal 15. UCLA is 8-5-1 after that wild game went to 11 innings and they had to call it due to a travel curfew, I believe, last weekend. So UCLA has that tie, which could honestly end up making a difference. Like if Oregon and UCLA end up neck and neck, that tie could be the difference maker. So things like that in a season like this can really matter. Stanford and ASU are both 10-2 in the Pac-12 right now. USC is 9-3. UCLA is 8-5-1. Oregon is 7-5. Ducks are within striking distance. So get this. Say Oregon gets it done in all 3 games against Stanford. You know what the Ducks would be? They'd be 10-5. You know what Stanford would be? They'd be 10-5. Ducks have a chance to maybe knock the team that's tied atop the conference standings, and they'd have a chance to maybe tie their record with them. Now, they're a good team. They're physical. They're a veteran club. They've got a preseason Golden Spikes honoree pitching tonight in Quinn Matthews. Good team. I think Jay Stoffel versus Quinn Matthews is what a Friday night Pac-12 pitching matchup is all about. 2 guys that have been really, really good. So baseball, big weekend. We'll see you for Brews in baseball tonight and Bark in the Park coming up tomorrow, the senior stroll on Sunday. All right, spring football. New offensive line coach returning to the team in Alik Terry. He's back. His story is so cool. Was with the Ducks earlier in his career, moved on to get a full-time coaching position, now back as the full-time offensive line coach for the Ducks. He's youthful, he's energetic, he's just fun to listen to. Here's Alik Terry, the offensive line coach for the Ducks, breaking down spring practice so far.
Appreciate you. Glad to be back.
Did you think you'd be back as soon as you were?
Not as soon. I talked to somebody one day. I said in 5 years the plan was to be back. Less than 12 months later it happened. So God is great, for real. I'm blessed.
What was it about the job as a whole? Because Kevin O'Connell mentioned that what you said in the initial interview. So what was it about this opportunity, this place, that made it that desirable for you?
It sounds weird, but this was my dream school coming out of high school too. And now working here the first time, being a part of 2 Rose Bowls, winning, 2 Pac-12 championships and winning the Rose Bowl. This place is like none other, realistically. With it being my dream school and then actually coming here firsthand and experience the place, there's not many places at all, if any, that's like the University of Oregon. So to me, it was a no-brainer.
There's been a lot of O-line success here. You got Mirabal, Cristobal, Adrian Clem. Is that a little bit intimidating at all to try and step up and fill those shoes?
Not at all. Honestly, being able to be here previously under Coach Cristobal and Coach Mirabal, being an offensive lineman myself, you kind of like that. Honestly, that's the world we live in. You like that pressure. But honestly, I feel no pressure. A bunch of these guys already, they know the standard. There's a standard of offensive line play that's here, and we got to exceed that standard. We're going to try to reach it, obviously, but we're trying to exceed it every single day. And that's been set way before Coach Cristobal, Coach Mirabal. There's been a ton of offensive linemen to come through here, trying to continue to elevate that standard.
When you're developing your guys, you're recruiting your guys, what are the traits that you're trying to find, trying to get out of them?
Physical, strong, athletic. It's a whole bunch of things. It's not just one thing. One guy may be more athletic than the next. One guy may be more powerful than the next. But you look for some of the things like you can't, non-negotiables, finishers, guys who strain, guys who want to be extra. I like seeing guys push somebody on the end of their highlight and maybe have a little scuffle because I know you got a little edge to you. That means when you're out here competing with your guys, you're going to protect them.
How much do you like position versatility? You've been here before with a couple guys who can play basically
any
85.
position.
Is that important for you?
It's pivotal because that's what made Calvin Throckmorton so valuable for us. He played 50-plus career starts, but he started at every position. And that's kind of the thing we tell our guys. If you want to get to the NFL, they're looking for versatile offensive linemen. You provide yourself insurance of having a job if you can play right tackle and right guard and center. And that's the beauty of spring ball right now because now a lot of these guys get to play a position they haven't probably played in the past. And now you're getting a little bit more tools in your toolbox. So that's going to be huge for us, getting guys to be versatile in multiple ways.
Do you have any of those guys on the roster right now?
Oh, honestly, that's the best part about spring. Even if you don't have guys, you kind of force it. You kind of force it. So guys who may have never done something before, they got to do it this time.
What is your evaluation now of the offensive line, where it is, and any couple of guys that are standing out?
Yeah, right now, all the guys are competing their butt off, really. Guys are competing their butt off, and right now I think we're in a great spot. We got some young guys, obviously, with turnovers, some change with Alex Forsyth and Salah and TJ Bass leaving. And we're kind of in that transition that it was with them 3 years ago. People forget where they were the pups, and we see all the success they've had, obviously, because they've grown. We're in that next phase now, and we got a ton of guys that's working their butt off. I could sit here and name every single guy because right now the grind they've had in the winter training, and now bringing it in the spring, they're competing their butts off every single day. And if it's anything that we ask of them, they're going to do it.
Getting into the weeds of technique, Mario and Alex were double under guys, and Clem was more of an inside chest plate guy. seeing the meta balls out there.
Yep.
Is double under kind of the preferred method for you?
It's the preferred, but it's a little bit of variety. There's so many different ways your hands are going to fit in offensive line play. There's going to be times when it's going to be more double under. There's going to be times when it's going to be tight hands. And it's more dependent on the technique. A down block, it might be more tight hands than double under. Wide zone might be more inside hands. When we talk about inside zone or tight zone, we want to be double under, lifting guys' leverage. So being able to give our guys all the tools valuable, that when they get out there on game, that they can use whatever's necessary.
And you had several guys back who you coached before. Stephen Jones being one of them.
Yeah.
How much does having a guy like him who has, by experience, the most experience, most starts, those things, we talked about the versatility also, the guards, tackle. I don't think you're ever going to put him at center. He's 6'5".
If he can help him, that only help him.
But how much does his presence help in this transition?
Without a doubt. And it's crazy because I told like him, Marcus, JPJ, they were pups when I left. So those guys now to being in a leadership role and being in a role where they're the man in the room is great because even when we introduce an indie or something like that, they've done it before. They remember some of the lingo we had. So I'm able to connect some of the things that we were able to talk about before, bring it to life now. They're now able to help the young guys. So it's pivotal for us.
This place being your dream school, you were a recruit. Does that come up in recruiting for you now, or does that passion you had for this place as a player help you as a recruiter?
No doubt, because to me, I feel like I'm not lying. I feel like a lot of people recruit and lie. There's nothing to lie about. You literally come to this place, you can see how special it is, and then actually experiencing it firsthand. It's like, you know, you have your dream, like you think of Disney World and all that, but you get to see the behind the scenes of how this place runs and what makes it so successful. It's so much easier to recruit because like it's your dream school, and when you get here, I'm gonna show you even more reasons why it'll be your dream school.
As someone that's been here before, what was the first thing you noticed about the way Dan Lanning plays?
Man, to me, I say it all the time, he's like a maniac, but in a great way. Like, he loves everything Oregon football. Anything possible to get us a national championship, that's what his aim is. And if you're not somebody who's along that, you may seem like, oh, coach is wild. Nah, coach is locked in on one mission and one goal. And if you're not locked in with that, please step out the way. We got one mission, one goal. And he's gonna, every single day, he's consistent with that. There's no waiver, there's no roller coaster in him. Coach is a rocket. We going to the top.
Forsyth really credited you with helping in that 2020 and becoming a center, et cetera. That's your home, that's your spot.
Yeah.
When you're replacing him, you've got guys who just haven't had a lot of career snaps, literally and figuratively.
Literally, yeah.
What are you looking for in there, and how do you get JPJ and Marcus to feel comfortable with snapping to a really experienced quarterback?
And to me, it's more of a confidence deal, especially at center. Like Alex Forsyth, once again, 3 years ago, the confident player you all see now, that wasn't the same deal 2.5 years ago. He grew into that. He always has been a confident player, don't get me wrong, but when you're snapping the ball, there's a pressure that's added to you because you got to get that snap back there. People were looking at him crazy when he offset it to the right a little bit for the longest time, but for him, that was able for him to have consistent snaps. So for us, it's right now getting Marcus and JPJ to be consistent in their snaps and then be confident that no matter what, you can handle your footwork, you can handle your identification, and you can just get your job done smooth in there.
Did Josh Connerly remind you of any offensive lineman?
Man, and Josh Connerly has a unique skill set that's unique. I mean that respectfully. His feet, he almost has feet like a safety outside linebacker. He's got power of a lineman. So he's got the tools that's necessary to be another special force. We've seen some special tackles here in our short time here and in the past. If everything's right, he continue to work, because one thing about it, the best part about Josh Connerly is he's a freak athlete, but he is the hardest worker in our room. And what does that do for everybody else? If the hardest worker, if one of your best players in your room is your hardest worker, it becomes contagious. When you went
back and looked at film of him last year, because you just limited snaps and that tight end extra block and stuff, heard from TJ Bass, bowl practice, he kind of took it to another level. What did you see in those holiday bowl practices from Josh that were different than the August, September snaps from Josh?
I think me personally, you can see a lot of times when you have a little bit more responsibility, you probably amp it up a little bit more. And Holiday Bowl was probably the first time. I wasn't here last year. There was probably going to be a role for him to increase his role, so you probably amped it up a little bit more. And it's trying to find a lot of our young guys right now to prep like you're playing in the national championship game tomorrow. Not sitting in coast mode because you're like, oh, I'm not going to play for a little while. So I would assume, I wasn't here, so I would assume probably it was getting closer to that time that Josh was probably going to get some more reps. So he probably amped it up even more. But he just put on display what everybody already knew.
Working with the defensive line last year with Minnesota, how does that kind of help your offensive line prep and how you kind of view that position?
It's helped me tremendously night and day. I honestly didn't want to do it. I never wanted to be assumed as a defensive line person, defensive line mind. But honestly, the tools it was able to allow me to help and bring back to these guys, night and day.
So with that knowledge and obviously working with this offensive line, are there guys on the defensive line that have really kind of impressed you so far?
Oh man, if you see every day, I go clap up the defensive line first, and I go tell them to go kick our butt today, because that's gonna be our our foundation. You got B Nasty, we got Brandon Dorless back, you got Popo back, you got Taki back, you got Mace back, you got Jordan. We can sit here and name all those guys. That's probably going to be the most likely our strength of our team, and those guys know that. Those guys kicking our butt is going to help us get better. That's going to help us increase our thing. So I think me personally, all of them right now have done a tremendous job. For me, probably the biggest quote-unquote shocker is Taki, because Taki's doing some things with his body of getting down. If he gets explosive like that, man, who in our conference is going to block Taki? It's going to be a long day at the office for a lot of people.
Why do you like Marcus Harpress? Like, he's seen
yeah.
reps there. What makes it so good?
And to me, it's Marcus's mind. It's Marcus's mind. It's more so a deal to help him continue to grow as a player, because if he understands what's happening at center, it's going to help him at guard a lot more. And he has that confidence. You can see how the guys kind of get around him and stick to him, having that aura to him. You won't mind that at center at all, and it's only going to help him continue to grow.
How is that battle with him and I don't know if it's fair.
Yeah.
Him and JPJ.
Yeah, and honestly, it's great because, like, right now we're mixing everything with all these groups. So it's great to have a leader and a vocal leader on both sides if those guys are mixing and matching. So it's not just our older guy at center with one side, and the other side is a younger center that's still trying to figure it all out. We have two older guys who know the system, who know the offense, who can confidently make calls. That way it makes life easier for a Poncho, who's a young guy who's playing guard, for a young guy who's trying to learn it and maybe going on the fly. I can whisper to Marcus, and Marcus let him know exactly what to do.
What has Johnny Cornelius brought to this room so far?
Johnny right now for us has brought a ton of veteran leadership, because he just does things the right way at all times. Like, if you watch for Johnny, you look for Johnny, and Johnny's going to be in the meeting room early. He's going to get extra work. He's going to ask extra questions. For our young guys, it's a great person to be looking up, because he's going to come to work every single day. And you can see if you all see it, every single day, 65 gets better and better. So we hope to continue to grow on that path. And as long as he continues to get confident, continues to know he's got the skill set to be whatever he wants to be, he's going to be in a solid spot.
What's it been
Following
like?
up on that, why would Steven and Johnny, why are they a good fit together on the right side?
Realistically, right now, I wouldn't say it's the greatest fit. Right now, we're just rotating. And right now, we want to try Grizz out of some guard, try Grizz out of some tackle. So it just happens to be that fit right now. And when you look at it right now, you're not mad at that side at all. If it were to pan out, we play the game tomorrow. But that's not the case. We just got guys rotating right now. And it's just good to see those two guys, because when you have large humans on one side, that's almost what it looked like with Shane and Panay were on one side a few years ago. You know what that does for you. So it helps protect the quarterback, without a doubt. And I think for them, being both older players, they can see things a lot faster, be able to communicate things way before it happens.
What's it been like working with Will Stein and just kind of getting used to his offense and kind of getting some ideas out there of your own?
I see exactly why Coach Leonard brought him here. I can see why Coach Leonard brought him here, because you can just tell the offensive mind that he is. Great energy, brings his energy every day. He's trying to bring the guys together. And obviously he knows, like, it's bigger than just running the ball, or it's bigger than just passing the ball. It's having the cohesion of both. We're going to run the ball, but we're going to run the ball so that way we have one safety high, Troy Franklin, can go dunk on somebody. So those are the things you can see he's really trying to attack, and getting our guys to get bought into it every single day.
You mentioned putting guys in different positions on purpose in the spring. That's always part of the experiment. It's the time you do it. How much does Junior being limited right now impact, like talk about Steven and Johnny being on the right side? Maybe that's long term, maybe it's not. But that if Junior were here, how much does that impact what you do on the interior? Who's just very big, experienced body in the interior?
Yeah, and it's not that it's a horrible thing right now. Once Junior gets healthy, we'll have Junior right back in the mix. But for us, once again, it just provides another opportunity for somebody else. And now Poncho can come up and play some guard. Mike Wooten can play some guard. Guys who probably wouldn't have got as much guard reps if Junior was here, they now get some more ample reps now. And once again, if the more reps we get in the bank, it only helps our team.
How can you not root for this guy? Alik Terry, just so much fun to hear him break down his journey, and then also now what this offensive line is going to look like. And how about some of those connections just in his time as a GA? Guys like Shane Lemieux, he brings up Calvin Throckmorton. I mean, guys that were part of that offensive line group that led to so much success for Oregon football. Now he wants to carry that over with this group. I just love Alik Terry and what he brings to the table for the Ducks. When we come back, one of the guys who could factor in a big way along the offensive line this year, Josh Connerly. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you inside the Country Financial Studio. Hearing from some Oregon football coaches and student athletes, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Heard from Malik Terry, new offensive line coach. He's back for the Ducks. And now Josh Connerly, big-time recruit, big expectations. Has had a few years to develop now. Josh Connerly could be a big impact player along this offensive line. Some of his thoughts on spring football so far.
Coaches and players are saying, it sounds like you really put in a lot of work this offseason. You really tried hard to improve. Where have you most tried to improve your game?
I really try to stay consistent in my pass head a lot. It really started to work my hands a lot more because I feel like the way I use my hands is kind of a weakness. But that's something that I work every day. So I'm just trying to get better at that.
TJ Bass said that during bowl practice, you really took it to another level. Kind of light went on for you. What about leading up to the Holiday Bowl? What in the month of December kind of changed for you?
I really just wanted my opportunity, to just leave it all out there on the field, because you only get blessed with the opportunity to play football so many times, So I just wanted to make the most of it. And I feel like I started to get a lot more confidence towards the end of the season because I started actually knowing what I was doing, so it really made me play a lot more free.
Touchdown against Colorado, best birthday ever?
It's up there. So, no, yeah, for sure. I would have to say that's the best birthday gift I've gotten. Shout out Coach Kenny.
What's been your impression of Malik Terry so far compared to past offensive line coaches you've had?
A lot of energy, man. Like literally day to night, consistent energy. And the way that he holds us accountable is a lot different from what I've had. It's not really a huge yeller, but really wants you to make sure you hear the message, So.
On the other hand, Coach Kavanaugh, what's it been like just having him in here so far?
Straight knowledge, He was recruiting me at Arizona State too. So he always asks me if I remember him or something. Yeah, of course I do, But he always every time he talks, it's he's just it's just dropping something that sticks with you. You feel me? So yeah.
Any linemen in the league that you try to, or maybe past Oregon offensive linemen that you try to emulate your game after?
Tyron Smith. Yeah.
Coach was talking about just your work ethic and first one in, hardest worker. Where does that come from, you feel like?
I feel like I kind of been like that since I was a little kid. Always trying to learn something, always trying to just do better, because I just feel like it's never really enough. But yeah.
Go back to high school, Josh. When did you first start playing? I heard it was sophomore year or so.
Yeah, so after my freshman year, we lost our starting and our backup O-line, so I kind of just had to sacrifice my tight end dreams, running back dreams to be who I am now.
Going back to your recruitment, obviously you were a high-profile recruit, and there was videos that came out after your commitment of the coaching staff here going crazy, celebrating. How insane was that recruitment, and how late in the process did you actually make your decision?
It was actually a year ago on April 8th. But like just the whole process, I mean, it was an awesome process. You know, I got to go a lot of places that I've never been before. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it's crazy having a bunch of coaches calling you all at once, but at the same time, man, it's like you have to separate who you think is really going to get you to the next level from who just wants you, you know, for your name.
You were also a really good basketball player. The point schools here, basketball player.
Yeah.
Oregon even offered you a scholarship here. This is the first full year without basketball. How much do you feel like that's helped you just on the football field, getting your body right, you know, focusing strictly on football?
Definitely had fresher legs. Even I'm gonna say I don't think I can really jump like that anymore. But I mean it's the only thing that basketball really helped me with was just constant footwork and that build and just explosiveness, playing defense all the time, because that was something that I really did, was defense and rebound. But yeah, I mean it's not. I feel like it's better for my mental state. It's like you don't have to go from this to this to this. It's just one thing. You feel me? So.
Still get some pickup games from time to time?
Here and there. You'll just catch me at the rec, maybe.
When there's opportunity out there for starting opportunities and jobs, and you're working with the ones a little bit right now, what do you want to get done, not just this spring, but this whole offseason, Josh? What do you want to show? What do you want to prove? Where do you want to improve?
I mean, there's some people that like to say I wasn't really worth it, you know, but at the same time, I feel like I'm worth every dime. And I try to show that every single day. Every time I strap these cleats up, I go out there on that field. I try to run on the field and show people that I am who I am, you know. And I don't really try to get too far outside of myself, you know. I just come work, and that's what I do.
When you first got here in the fall, in particular, what was it like when you're first taking reps against DJ? And
yeah,
obviously we saw he put up at the combine and pro day and stuff in terms of speed and strength. So just what were some of those initial reps like of like welcome to college football?
Definitely one of the hardest people I've ever had to block in my life, for sure. As far as it, like at first it was really hard, you know. But I mean, you kind of tend to get used to it. But at the same time, it's just like you just have to work and just be patient with yourself, because you're not gonna get it first week. Shoot, I feel like I probably still couldn't get it, but at the same time, you know, it's just believing in yourself and trusting your set.
Are there guys like that this year on this defensive line? Coach Terry was talking about how impressed he's been with those defensive linemen. They're guys that you're really relishing sets against, competition against?
It's constant competition against Brandon Dorless, even though last offseason he said that I don't really win too much. I'm starting to get him here and there now, but I really try to, it doesn't really matter who I go against, you know. I just try to do my job and be the best I can.
You want to set the record straight? Do you beat Brandon a fair amount? You get him a couple times?
I get him here and there, but I'm gonna say he's definitely played a lot of football, you know, and he know, you know, I'm gonna say before I even do it, he knows what I'm gonna do. So, you know, I'm just trying to get on his level.
That's a good level to be on, isn't it? If you're talking about Brandon Dorless, I mean, a guy who's been garnering a ton of awards. That's Josh Connerly. Gotta love rooting for that guy too, right? I mean, I love the basketball question too. Like, he was a heck of a basketball player, and that changes things for sure. It's a tough sport to overlap. Also, my apologies, I didn't see Steve's question. Are any of these games televised? For softball, yes, games are televised. The series in Tempe is on Pac-12 Arizona. For Oregon baseball, we've got the Oregon live stream, which means our Quack video crew is producing it all. So unfortunately, you're stuck listening to me and Jordan Brenner. You get the hometown radio call with the TV broadcast via the Oregon live stream. When we come back, Steve Stevens talking with one of the safeties for this Duck team, a veteran of the secondary. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear Sharp Turns, Toyota has more all-wheel drive sedans than any other brand. Get a grip in the stylish Camry, the elegant Crown, the striking new Prius or the sharp Corolla. Get to Toyota.com already. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Baseball coming up. 5 o'clock is the start time today. Oregon softball's on the road. It's not only on Pac-12 Arizona. Ryan Milano also made the trip for KWVA. He'll have the hometown radio call as well. Steve Stevens, Oregon safety, he met with the media earlier this week. Some of his thoughts from a veteran of the secondary that, again, Dan Lanning has said this now a couple times about the secondary. He likes the depth. Some versatility of positional versatility. You heard Trico's Bridges say that yesterday, that he's gone back and forth between corner and safety again. Steve Stevens, guy who's played the back end of the defense a lot, has seen a lot of football. He met with the media this week.
A high-level competition, you know, all these different guys, different skill sets, different knowledge coming into the room. A lot of I'll say hours, games played. So a lot of reps. So, you know, just trying to be on point in every step of the way, from the communication to what we've seen on the field, communicate to our guys, then to the technique, just going really down to your fundamentals. And that makes you not taking any false steps in your alignment assignment, your technique. So high, very high.
Do things like communication come quicker when it's veteran guys, or is that still a process that has to play out?
Definitely, because once you're a veteran, you've seen so much things. Just over the years, you anticipate things. Typically, a lot of offense do majority of the same stuff. So, you know, you kind of get a feel for it, and you're just able to just communicate, alert the movers, and play fast.
You're headed into year 2 of this Lanning and Lupoy defense. Just where do you feel like you've grown the most in it?
I've grown the most just learning more of the fronts, just learning more so what the backers and the D linemen are doing, along with what I'm doing in the back end. So it helps me understand the bigger picture, not just my job. So I'll say in that area.
Where are you lining up right now? I think you were free last year?
I'm at safety, so I'm free boundary. I go back and forth. I know both really well.
Was the plan for you to rep it both during the year, or do you want to settle on one spot, or what's kind of the hope and plan there?
So that's up to the coaches. Like I said, I'm versatile. I can play wherever. So, like I said, wherever they need me, I'm available and ready to go.
So going back to last year, you're one of the few guys, well, even this year, you're one of the few guys who was here during the Levitt era, which means 4 DCs in 5 years. Not making excuses, just saying that's hard. That's a challenge to learn that much terminology.
It is.
So at times last year when the defense had some struggles, speaking at least for yourself, how much of that played into it maybe at times? It's a lot of terminology, a lot of things to have to figure out. It's just the amount of scheme changes part of that?
For me personally, I didn't have that problem. Just the amount of reps coming from, you know, winter conditioning, looking at the film, doing walkthroughs, the spring ball, getting those reps, then that off-season break, then going into fall camp. It's a lot of opportunity to get reps, a lot of opportunity to kind of throw away the old terminology and then come in with the new terminology, kind of like a refresh. And I take great notes, so I don't really have that problem for me personally. So,
what stood out to you about Evan Williams since he got here?
Say that one more time.
What has stood out to you about Evan Williams since he got here?
What stood out to me? He's just big effort guy. Just one thing about Evan, no matter what, you know, he's gonna go hard and he's gonna play fast to the best of his ability. Even if he has a mistake, it's gonna be a mistake at 100 miles per hour. So,
what about Taishim? What has he shown so far?
Taishim seems like a very physical player. He's real physical, and then like I tell him one thing, he knows what I'm talking about. Even though he's still learning defense, but he understands defense grand scheme. So I tell him one thing when he's on the field with me, and then he just understands and he's able to go.
What's it like going from Bennett to Evan? And are you sick of the Williams yet?
Nah. Yeah, I love the Williams, man. Just all across the board. Even his dad and his mom and everything, they're all good. It's definitely different. You know, Evan, I would say he's not as reckless as his brother in a sense. You know, no harm, no foul. But I think it's just fun. It's just playing with the brothers for sure. Because I kind of got to know Evan a little bit, like just being around Bennett. So it's fun.
What's Coach Hampton brought to that room? That's, again, you've had a lot of position coaches. So what makes him unique as a position coach compared to the 3 or 4 others you've had over the years?
So just from a position coach standpoint, they all bring something different to the table, you know. So I don't know if I can necessarily just point out one thing right this second, but it's just they all have different ways they coach and different ways they explain the defense to you. So I might understand it one way being that I'm a vet, but then he's like, hey, look, you know it this way, but also be alert to this. Like, he's also bringing in tendencies that the offense might do, what type of plays that they run based off the different formations and things like that. So definitely just more of like a game planning type of presentation, I would say, because he was a DC. So he does understand what offense they're trying to do. So it's fun to have that in the room.
Dan has talked a lot about year 2 being a major time for growth in this defensive scheme. Have you seen that among the players? Have you seen it really start to click for a lot of the guys out there?
For sure. So I would say a lot of young guys that weren't really so heavily incorporated last year, they're definitely stepping up and definitely understanding what they got to do and their role, that they need to have a bigger role this coming up year, because now it's really their time and we need everybody. We don't need just a couple of people, we need everybody. So definitely seeing guys step up.
Who comes to mind when you think of young guys who are stepping up and taking that next step?
Anthony Jones, one of the guys. I see Anthony Jones in the offseason just really pushing himself, being lift of the week, I think every week, just grinding just from the offseason training, then now coming in, he's doing his lineman assignment, his techniques, he's communicating out there, he's playing fast, playing smart, he's playing physical, and it's just really fun to watch him play.
There's an idea that the pass rush, or hope that the pass rush is going to be better this year than it was last year. How beneficial is that to you, and have you seen that so far through spring practice?
So we always say rush and coverage work together, so if they're able to do their job, it makes our job easier, you know what I'm saying? It throws off the timing, because there's a lot of, with our offense, it's oftentimes a lot of timing throws. So even though we might collision the route, if the pass rush doesn't make it home, the play still might have a play. So it's definitely good, and it's been good for me. It's been good this spring thus far, the pass rush. But like I said, we're getting a lot of rotation, different guys, so we're getting veterans with young guys. So it's been good.
In the spring, when you're not competing against another opponent, you guys are competing against yourself. How do you feel like that competition really helps you and prepares you and improves you for when you do face a real opponent in the fall?
So we got a lot of good players, a lot of good players. And again, it's competition within your room. So not only are you competing against, the guys across from you, but competing with guys in your room. So we're trying to, it's really fun. It's really fun. It gets really competitive. And it's just at the end of the day, on the field, it's you got to go out there and dominate somebody. And when we're off the field, we're brothers at the end of the day. So it's definitely fun, and we have a good time doing it.
You're one of only a couple of 60-year guys, Steve.
Say what now?
You're one of only a couple of 60-year guys.
For sure.
You and Popo and Jones, I think about it. BA also. Why was it important to you to come back and finish out another year?
I just feel like I left a lot of money on the table last year. I didn't have any interceptions. I really didn't have too many pass breakups, missed a couple tackles. So I just want to capitalize on anything that I liked, any areas that I liked in my game last year, to give myself the best opportunity for the next level.
What does a good 2023 season look like for you in that sense?
I would say what I had. I think I had maybe 43 tackles last year, so more than 43 tackles, and then 3 to 4 picks. I would be happy.
Steve Stevens talking with the media. A lot of depth in the defensive backfield, and he's one of them. When we come back, zeroing in on the Diamond Sports, Ducks are in the desert for Oregon softball. Missy Lombardi talking with the media when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Congratulations to Oregon softball alumna Gwen Savekis. She has been selected to compete for the U.S. women's national team for the first time in her career. Savekis was an alternate for the 22 women's national team, but this marks the first time on the active roster. 2018 Duck graduate will join 15 other athletes representing Team USA at the World Baseball Softball Confederation World Cup, July, in Ireland. I feel like Gwen's going to be excited about that trip. And Scott loves her because she's a Star Wars fan. Congratulations to Gwen Savekis, an Oregon softball alumna doing big things. Speaking of Oregon softball, they're on the road in the desert, taking on Arizona State coming up, 6 o'clock tonight. Ryan Milano will have the call on KWVA, also televised on Pac-12 Arizona Ducks, Sun Devils. Missy Lombardi, Duck softball head coach, previewing the matchup this week.
Coach, we talked a lot about sort of reassessing and reevaluating over the bye week. How did this bye week give you a chance to reevaluate?
I think the biggest thing the bye week did for us was just give us a chance to exhale a little bit and reset. You know, we're halfway through the pack, and just the way our bye weekend worked out, I think it was in a good spot this year.
Is it mentally sort of easier because it's at that halfway point to say, we did this in the first half, we want to do this in the second half, able to break it up right down the middle?
Yeah, it allows you to see, you know, exactly that, what we did at the beginning, and we had a lot of good things that we accomplished, what we have left to do, and how we want to go about it. I think it gives us a chance to allow our bodies, our minds, you know, you think physical, mental, just to like take a breather, which I think is good.
We talk a lot about sort of tangible physical benchmarks, but a lot of the mental side has been emphasized. Are there mental benchmarks for this back end of the season that the team as a whole is trying to hit?
I think for them just to continue to stay, I mean, just healthy in all areas, whether it's physical, whether it's mental. You know, we just got done with our winter quarter. So I think people forget, for us, we're in a quarter system where others are in semesters, so there's a little more of that to go along with it too. We're beginning our final term this year, so I think it just all this year kind of worked out. It was a nice spot where our bye worked out with spring break and being halfway through the pack, and it just seemed like it worked out in a good spot this year.
When you come off a weekend like this past one, especially where it also has the impact to some of the metrics, strength of schedule and those things, RPI, which I'm sure in an ideal world you would have had a different opponent to change that a little bit, but does it also help shape, you've talked in years past about, you know, team knowing exactly where you are in some of those things in RPI and league standings and what that means, to say there's still work to do. After a weekend like last, where you go from one of the top strength schedules in the country to still good, but pretty big hit, that the numbers bear it out. That yes, that there's still work to do to get to that goal. It's achievable, but you got to bring that postseason mentality. You got to bring that execution every game from here on out to do it, to get that end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help kind of shift that mindset, I guess? Does that help convey that message when the numbers bear it out that way?
You mean, like, are you saying like our numbers before we played last weekend?
After this past weekend, when you go from, I think it was like 7 or 8, I want to say, to like 22 or 25.
Right. Yeah, I think it just shows like every game that we're going to play. I mean, every game that we play is important, but just going down the back, the back end of the pack, that every game that we play is important, and that we're going to play a lot of we still have a lot of ranked teams left to play, which is going to be great, and it's about us, clinching those series, and then if we do have opportunity to get a sweep in those series, even more.
What has Val done in those situational spots that we've talked about for quite a while now, to where when you're looking for more success and more bats to come through, that she's done it for you more this year, not just compared to others, but especially compared to herself a year ago? What has she done to put herself in a better position in those spots?
Yeah, I would say this, she's older, mature, more experienced. I just think as these guys get older, they handle things better. They handle their success better. They handle when things don't go their way better. They just go about it different because they're older. And I think that's what you're just seeing, a more older, mature Val that has had a lot of at-bats and has been in a lot of big moments. And maybe early on in her career would put a little more pressure on herself, where now she's not. She's pretty free when she's at the plate.
Sort of on the same line, but with Ariel. Last year, obviously, strong power season. This year, average has gone up, power numbers have gone down. For you as the head coach, how do you sort of assess her at the plate? And she mentioned trying to find some more balance. How do you sort of work with her in finding that?
I think for her, just to keep doing what she's doing. I think if we try to, make the power come, it doesn't. I think it's just allowing it to come on its own, to keep. I like that our average is high, to keep putting good swings on the ball, and I think those things will show up. I think for her, I think even for us, you're about to see our best softball yet. I think our best softball is going to come on the second half of the pack in all areas. So with Ariel, keep doing what you're doing.
How much of that is the bye week coming at the right time? How much of that is players getting healthier at the right time to go into that back end of the season and play your best softball?
Yeah. I just think timing-wise that all just kind of worked out. I just think we played some really good softball, but still haven't peaked. And usually our teams at this point is when we really start to get hot with what we're doing. So that's what I would expect with this group.
The weather the last couple of weeks here at home, I'll count Corvallis as semi-home, has changed the dynamics of the ball a little bit, I guess I'll say. It was almost like there was a force field holding the ball in, and a couple of times
big force field.
The ball was heavy. The weather impacted a lot.
Yeah.
You're going down to a venue where that's not going to be the case. In fact, it'll be completely opposite. Any change, any little tweaks that you're talking to the team about, or just kind of, changing the swing, maybe something that wouldn't go out is, and vice versa with the pitchers, something that, maybe a little bit in the zone that you could have kept in might not stay in anymore.
Yeah. I think for us, you look at the weather that we've dealt with for the past, month, and I think our team has handled it extremely well. I think better than anybody else would, for sure. And you look at how many balls that could have gone out that didn't, or balls that were hit right at people. You think of balls that went out and balls that we striked well that didn't get hit right at people. What would some of our numbers look like right now? I think it would look very different. So I don't want them to change a thing. I want them just to keep doing what they're doing. I believe that if they keep striking the ball hard and having good at bats, it'll fall. It'll fall. So, you're going to go somewhere where we're not going to have to worry about weather, and the air is going to be a little lighter. So just for them to keep doing what they do. I don't need them to change anything.
Don't need him to change anything. Melissa Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach, meeting with the media ahead of the series in Arizona. Ducks taking on Arizona State starting tonight, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock tomorrow, and then they conclude the series on Sunday. Ducks softball is on the road. It'll be a 2 o'clock start on Sunday. When we come back, a little bit more on Oregon softball and the rest of the weekend schedule on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Let's hear a little bit more from Coach Lombardi as the Ducks get ready to take on Arizona State this weekend. Oregon baseball is going to be at home, lacrosse at home. A lot more to get to. Hearing a little bit more from Coach Lombardi.
Tara be able to get back behind the plate this weekend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tara's good. She's in a good spot. She's played a lot, so it was nice to be able to give her some time.
And what's the status with the lease at this point?
We're close. We're close. We're just waiting. We're just close.
Should she be able to return before the end of the regular season, missing this? What do you expect by way of what the process will be to get her back up to? Obviously, you want her in postseason to be able to be at peak performance. It's
sure.
a pretty narrow window to do that.
Yeah.
So, what is the build up? Like, all right, if she's a week or 2 weeks away from being on the field,
Mm-hmm.
what is she away from going 7 innings if you need her?
Right. Yeah, I just think as we're going along with this process, we'll find it out. I wish I had all the answers to it. I don't. I just know that we're just trying to get her ready and get her situated for exactly what you're saying. As far as what it looks like, I don't know. But what I love is that she's very athletic. She's got urgency. Like you see Kai, I think she's a prime example. She's had to wait all year, and then her urgency has been, she's had urgency with what she's done because of what she's missed out. And I feel that we'd feel the same with Elise. However, how many innings in a ball game, I don't know that. I don't know. But as far as her urgency to be the best that she can be, I think you would feel that from her too.
We talked a lot at the beginning of the season, sort of the competition amongst position groups and sort of thriving to be the best. Is now with Kai being healthy, Elise starting to get back healthy, does that sort of reinvigorate that competition where everyone is trying to play for each other but also get a spot in the starting nine?
Yeah, I think these guys always play for each other, and I think these guys have been competing all year. I think anytime you can add more depth, it goes a long way for us. So I think getting Kai back has been great for us. I'm excited to see what she can do this weekend at Arizona State. I think we'd feel the same thing for Elise, to get her back, and opportunity for innings would go a long way as well. But I think they're always playing for each other, and they're always competing.
What are some specific benchmarks for you that you want to accomplish in this series?
I think continue with what we've been doing, being solid with our defense and pitching. Our pitching doing a good job of working ahead and finishing batters, and then our offense. We're getting runners on base. Is just to continue to cash them in.
I'm guessing it's probably more something you'd think to do midweek next week with the Portland State games, but I get what you're doing with Kai entirely. More runners in front of your biggest bats. That's the kind of basic strategy there. Any thought at all in terms of maybe putting her in like the 5-6, just in that, to try and put some for the bottom half of the lineup too, potentially just. And I say that we're like, all these games obviously carry the weight they do. I'm not asking you to start experimenting on these, but is that something you think about for one of these midweek games you still got left, is maybe tinkering exactly where to put her if there's an alternative where you have a lefty pitcher, for example, you don't want to go lefty-lefty at the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think just in general we think about that. With Kai, just as she continues coming back, figuring out where's, the best spot to put her. And then it's matchups too. How does she match up? How do our other athletes match up? I think there's a couple different things that we're looking at, but it's just been great to have her. I think she's been a spark plug and has given us a little jolt in our lineup. So
she really has. Talking about Kai Lushar, it's nice to have that true spark with the speed that she brings to the table. Really, really good stuff from Missy Lombardi. She also went on to congratulate Haley Cruz on her retirement. That was pretty cool. I thought to see that. The rest of the Oregon softball interviews this week available on the Go Ducks YouTube. We just run out of time here on today's show. Men's and women's tennis both in action this weekend. We'll keep you updated throughout the baseball broadcast. And then Oregon track and field. It's amazing when you get to this time of year. For example, they're in Azusa and they're in Walnut, California. They're all over the place, depending on which events the Ducks are competing in. So shout out again, as always, every weekend, I feel like I say this, Zach Lawson from Oregon Athletic Communications. He puts together the full recap of what happens in track and field on GoDucks.com every day. And, there's so much to track. So shout out to the guy that we call Zach Track for obvious reasons. When we come back for the next broadcast on the Oregon Sports Network, it's going to be Duck Baseball. And this is a huge, huge series for Duck Baseball. Oregon State didn't go as planned. Stanford's top 10, top 25 for sure team. See how it goes. 5 o'clock tonight. 4:45 pregame show with myself and Jordan Brenner. It's Brews and Baseball at PK Park. We'll see you there.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.